Okay, so guys, raise your hands and keep them up if you have one child. Raise your hand. If you have two children, raise your hands. Or three or more, raise your hand. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Now reach over and pinch yourself or pinch your spouse. Okay. Now remember, this is great. This is fun. This is what you wanted, right? You wanted to be married, right? And through that, you wanted to have kids. Well, now you got them. Yeah, and life's crazy sometimes, right? And there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of challenges, and so hey, I love being a parent. I know you do too. That's why you're here. So we're going to have a great class this morning. Hopefully, this will be helpful. So the first thing I want to share is let's go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 4, and so in this scripture, God gets Moses' attention, and he says, Exodus 3, verse 4, he says, when the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said to him, here I am. You guys, how did God work? How did God get a hold of Moses and get his attention? He talked to him. He spoke to him. He got his attention. He called him by name a couple times, and he gave him his message. Dads, come on, man. I'm calling you guys out. Dads, you got to be present. You got to be present in your kid's life. It's the most important thing, no matter what. I mean, God shows us how to do it, right? And how are we doing? How are you doing at those talks? You got to get their attention. Turn off your cell phone. Turn off their iPad. You know, eyes up here, eyeball to eyeball, and get their attention. And then God is going to bless you. He blessed Moses. Moses had a mission, a plan, and God blessed it. God will bless you. And the beautiful thing here, it can be just the little things. But if you're present, being dad, great things can happen. The silliest thing, like when we had the 3 kids, we're trying to figure out what to do, I would try to rescue Carolyn on Saturday morning, take the 3 kids out and get a donut. Well, today, that's all the kids remember. Donuts with Dad, chocolate and sprinkles, it's awesome. So I'm the hero. Why? Because I just rescued her. We went to Dunkin' Donuts, had a great time. We did it like 3 or 4 times, but in their life, it's like, oh, Dad, those were the best times ever. I just trying to be a dad, just trying to be present. We're stuck in traffic coming back from spring break. You know, we've been in the car for hours, and the traffic is long. You know, I'm tempted to give in to anger, tempted to the human nature starting to flare. And all of a sudden, we started making jokes about women's underwear, and that's all Kathleen remembers. You know, and so to this day, you know, we turn that moment into, instead of snarling the attitudes, it's like, you know, I set the tone, not because I'm so wonderful, but just, you know, we just started having fun and connecting. That's all Kathleen kind of remembers, and, you know. So, Dad, just be present. Okay, Matthew 6, verse 9, we don't need to turn there. We know the scripture, our Father who art in heaven. If Jesus teaches us to see God as a father, then it must be a big deal to be one, guys, right? It must be a big deal. So don't let your career, your hobbies, or the church be an excuse not to have a pulse on your family. Man, it's challenging as dads. You know, we're wired. We want to conquer our career. The brothers, you know, we're going to save the world in the church. And, you know, you got your hobbies. You know, what are your hobbies? Who named golf, fishing? You got, you know, all about the latest games on the internet. And, but are you present in your kid's life? Are you being that dad, and you see the importance of being a father? And guys, this really comes out in our spiritual training. You know the principles. Seek first the kingdom. You know, do not worry about your life. You know, be patient. Guys, this is where it comes out. I mean, you know the scriptures. We don't need to go there. But it's our heart of really being into it to seek first the kingdom. To get there at midweek, when you're tired, you haven't had any, you're eating cold mac and cheese for your dinner, and you're having indigestion, racing across town, going to soccer with one kid, and you know, I see you guys on Sunday morning coming in haggard, and you know that's that's great. You know, just that's the dad's role. You know, just to see that, you know, that's where your heart comes out. And then guys, it's both quantity and quality. There was the older movement was kind of like, well, I've got it so scheduled down. I got Johnny on Tuesday and Sally at 7:15. Well, life doesn't always work that way. So you have to be, as a dad, you have to schedule that quality time. But sometimes you have to just be there, be around. You have to say no to the guys. I can't play golf or do the next activity. And then when you're there, unplug. I was with a brother a while back, he's just thinking about work. The kids are all around him, and he's trying to discipline one, but he's got so much distraction with work. If you're there and you've got a discipline moment with your child, take full advantage of it. Don't be thinking about work and texting and email and the projects. If you're too busy with that, you're just too busy. It's just not worth it, because this is your moment, your opportunity to be the dad and to model, really being that father for them. And guys, think about the great examples, the Engleharts, what they shared last Sunday, right? Was that amazing? Just the camaraderie, the unity, and you saw the leadership of the Engleharts family when they went on the mission trip. And then the butler's baptism, is it Emma? Eliana, her baptism, man, the sharing, and where does that come from? The parents have been there, the dad's been there. You can't, that doesn't happen. We know that, guys, and that's why I want to lift you guys up. That's where doing the work that you're doing is so crucial. So dads, 3 things that will give you the superpowers, okay? Have a quiet time every day. I know we talk about that, but it's so true. Be close to the brothers. And then ask your wife lots of questions. I can't stress that, about the spiritual needs, emotional needs, and physical needs of your kids. Ask the questions. Hey, how is so-and-so doing? How do you think, do we need to buy so-and-so more clothes? Was she really happy at that party? I don't know if she's connecting with her friends. So what should we do next? Or that was great, so let's do this. But guys, I think we can go through life. I have my job, my career, my sports, my hobbies, and we showed up, but we need to go a little deeper sometimes. Hey, how did I do there? Did that family devotional, and was I into it honestly, or did I come across distracted, or am I not even having family devotionals? What? So ask me. A lot of times with my wife, I just ask, okay, what's important right now? What do you want me to do? Just help me, because and then it works better. Okay, and then lastly, guys, remember, you love your child more than anybody in the face of the earth. So get in there. You're going to make mistakes. That's okay. I made plenty of them. I feel like spring break always brought out my sinful nature. As brother would say, we're leaving at 4:30. We're going to carpool. Great. Well, 5 o'clock, I can't get my paperwork done, and I'm freaking out. Everyone's late, and I'm in trouble, and we fight all the way to Atlanta. But by the end of the week, we're all loving, and it's a hunky-dory, and it's all beautiful. I don't know how it works out, but, God just blesses it. But I showed up along with my mess. I had my mistakes. Guys, I tried to be the Boy Scout dad. Big mistake. I got involved with Boy Scouts. I thought I was going to be camping, canoeing. No, it was popcorn sales and bags. I hated those stinking things. I was always late. My kid probably had the least badges than anybody in the stupid troop, because there was something to eat week and an exercise. And I'm like, where's the camp out? Let's go in the woods and have fun. And so then the popcorn sale, I got in all kinds of trouble. So I guess you just got to think about it. When it comes time for your child to eventually study the Bible, will your life be like a hindrance or a real help, to your child? Because eventually you're going to want them to study the Bible. The major point here is 2 are better than 1. You've got to have a great marriage and learn to work together in your parenting. I won't turn there for the sake of time, but Ecclesiastes 4:9, 2 are better than 1, but the scripture here talks about that cord of 3 strands. So really, 3 are better than 3 are better than 2. So you have 1's better than 2, and then 2 are better than 3. So how do we keep God in our marriage? Because that's really the power. You can do way more with God involved in your marriage. Well, I think we have the vision, right? We all know Ephesians 2:3. Husband is the head of the wife. Christ is the head of the church. That's great, and we all have kind of that euphoric vision, and it's going to be awesome. But guys, when life really hits, come on. When life really hits, how are we doing? If it's great to be at church, we know that's when we all look good. The mess really happens at home. It's a true story real fast. I'm going to tell you. One day we had a summer activity. My wife's going off to the kids to meet disciples up north and her car caught on fire. She got out of it and it blew up. Well, what happened, a little background here. So we're rushing off to drive up to the dunes, and I'm nervous because I procrastinated and taking care of the car, so I go and put extra oil in it. Well, I don't know what happened, but oil started leaking, caught on fire. One of the disciples is like, pull over, your car's smoking. She pulls over, catches on fire, and it blows up. I mean, blows up. Tires are popping, burns down to nothing. It's on their way to meet disciples in the dunes, you know. Yeah, yeah. Oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be this happy life. I'm a Christian now. I'm baptized. I got this great family. Life happens, guys. So what do we do in those moments? You know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes we bring on ourselves. Just, you got to be unified first, then divide and conquer. You have different gifts and strengths. As long as you're unified, you can divide and conquer. The biggest thing we learn is don't blame each other. Oh my gosh. And when those things happen, who's the enemy? That's really the question you have to ask. Who's the enemy here? It's Satan. John 8:44. Blame Satan, guys. Just learn to blame Satan. He's the bad guy. Not this precious wife who I married and I love. Now all of a sudden, you know, the fangs are coming out and I'm, you know, going crazy and her sinful nature is coming out. You know, John 8:44, Satan is the father of lies. He's going to whisper that. Oh, it's your wife just being impatient. Oh, you're such a bad leader. Oh, you'll never get over this sin. You struggle with this. You're a weak, you're a lousy Christian. Guys, blame Satan. Marriage, he hates marriage. Marriage is from God. It's the most beautiful thing. It's going to be such a sweet blessing in your life. Then you have these precious kids, that are going to raise up and become disciples, and Satan is not going to let that happen. He's going to weave lies into your marriage and test you like crazy. And when does he do it? When's that time of day, you know, when it's bad for you? Nap time, meal time, bedtime. You know, for me, guys, it was mealtime. My dad really got angry at mealtime. So, you know what we do? We imitate. So I would get, when the kids were younger, I would get really frustrated at mealtime. Like, I wanted food a certain way. I'm like, it just caused all this stress. Like, why? And then the sinful nature would come out. Finally, you know, I had to humble out and say, Mike, get over it. It's just food and it's not worth getting angry at my wife. So we'd learn to divide and conquer eventually. You know, she's a teacher. She would help with the homework. I'd get in the kitchen and, you know, throw the macaroni and cheese up and then clean up the pans when it's over. You know, a little unity. Then the kids, in that example of the kids, now we're really able to get a lot more done, you know, and I appreciate she's a great teacher. Maybe she doesn't really care about the kitchen that much. I'm fine in the kitchen, but I'm not a really good teacher. So just divide and conquer. And then lastly, guys, just finish up here and just say, you know, your sacrifice is worth it for everything. You know, the sacrifice is worth it. Think about your stories your kids have about camp. Think about their best friends and what you're building here in the church. All those sacrifices, the expense of going to camp, the hassle of getting here in the mornings, you know, babysitting co-ops, all the extra thing you guys do, it's all really worth it. I just really want to encourage you. And you're going to do great. And even the fact you're here is awesome. Hey, guys, here's the ultimate, you know, test. Here's when you know when you arrived. Is when your kids are more eager to get to church than you. You know, when they don't want to miss fellowship, you're finally getting older and you're like, I'm tired of going. I'm going to eat my macaroni and be a little bit late. No, the kids are like, no, Dad, I'm going to be at time. I don't want to miss devotional. You finally see that you're doing. So I'll turn there to my wife.
Well, proud of all you guys for getting up early. You're here to get help, and we have prayed that we could say something that would be helpful to you. I know that when we were young parents, it was very much the norm to get help and discipling in your life, in your marriage, and in your parenting. I remember when Tyler was a toddler, and we could not get him to stay in his bed when we got out of the crib. He would not stay in his toddler bed. Man, we called the evangelist over to our house. We got little turtles. and the three of us are all sitting right outside his door, and we're gonna solve this problem together. You know, Tyler, he's about 3 years old. He opens the door. He sees 3 faces. He shuts the door. He gets back in bed. And we never had a problem again. Now, that was the way things were. So, you were trying to become a parent, right? And I think one of the first things we do is we want to do everything right. And so, we start with a to-do list. Here's what I'm going to do to be a good parent. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. Yep, this is what I'm going to do. And we create this to-do list for us. And, you know, one of the best advice that I was given as a young mother was, you know that to-do list that you make every day? You know what you used to be able to do before you had children? Well, just get used to doing it. Just cut that thing in half, because life is different. Okay, so if you want to open up to Isaiah 40, verse 11. I love this scripture because God tells us that there's something really important that needs to happen when you become a parent. And he says this is what he does when he deals with people that have young. That's you guys. He gently leads those that have young. So parenting is really hard work. And you got to be gentle with yourself because God is gentle with you. Think about how he turns on the lights. You know when someone turns on the lights, you go like this? Think about how God turns on the lights. There in the morning, sunrise. It's very gentle, very slow, beautiful. It's a good example of gentleness. We need to be gentle with ourselves. Grace, gotta have grace. To think about when you're not gentle with yourself, it's probably when you're not feeling the grace of God. So let me make this point that grace changes the pace. I do many things too quickly. I am a very fast walker, fast talker, fast. I first started teaching kindergartners. One of the first times I walked down the hall to the arts class, I lost a kid. I mean, I'm like, where'd Johnny go? Well, Johnny couldn't keep up with me. So I had to learn to slow down. No grace usually equals the wrong pace. Let's talk about pacing. Genesis 33, if you go there, great story. In a classroom, I have learned over and over again, when I am teaching at the wrong pace, the kids will let me know when I'm going too fast. And so, a little background, I've been in the classroom. I started teaching 35 years ago. I've taught in 4th grade. I've taught in 5th grade about 10 years. I've taught in 3rd grade about 10 years. I'm currently, I'm in 1st grade right now. So then, love this scripture, and I wish I remember reading this. So Jacob has just gotten reconciled with Esau, and he's bringing his family to be with Esau. And Esau says, "Come on, let's go, and I'll walk with you." And Jacob said, "My Lord knows that the children are tender, that I must care for the ewes and the cows that are nursing the young. If are driven hard just one day, all the animals would die. So let my Lord go on ahead of his servant while I move along slowly at the pace of the flocks and the herds before me, and the pace of the children until I come to my Lord in Sire." Okay, pretty cool stuff. Moving slowly at the pace of your child. Wow. Just in your own reading, you might want to go back. Beautiful encounter of Esau forgiving Jacob, and you should think, man, Jacob just experienced a lot of grace from his brother. And isn't it cool that a few sentences later, he's able to be confident in slowing down. So let's talk about guarding. When our children were little, one of the first things that we did guard was our quiet times. And you can ask my kids, you can go out there and say, Hannah, what's the first time you learned on the clock? She'll say, I learned 7 o'clock. Because the kids, we always said, 7 o'clock is when you guys can come down the steps. Stay up in your bedrooms, play upstairs, but mom's having her quiet time. And we laugh about that now. That, oh yeah, I remember that 7 was the first number we learned, and 7 o'clock, because we wanted to have our quiet time. So that's one of the biggest things our kids have seen us having quiet time over the years. I really wanted to start with a disclaimer that I really believe we've ended up with great adult kids. Hannah, Tyler, Kathleen, fantastic people. They're full of conviction. They're strong Christians. They're giving. They're committed. But I don't have anything that comes natural in me in being a parent. Like, I'm not naturally patient. I'm not naturally a good listener. I'm not naturally affectionate. I'm not naturally everything that you think about being what a good mother is. None of it comes natural to me. You know, we laugh about, you know, the movie Beauty and the Beast. It's like Beauty and the Beast, you know, and Papa trained the Beast, you know, he taught me how to be a good mom. But so I just want to make that clear. Sometimes we think, oh, if I do everything right, and if I'm perfect, then my kids are going to be perfect. But you know what? God's grace, you know what? Our kids are doing amazing, but it wasn't because we didn't make mistakes. I felt like our whole class could have been, let's just talk about the mistakes that we've made in parenting and in the classroom. Oh my gosh. Okay, so guarding, you know, seek first the kingdom. Guarding, as the kids got older, you know, we had to teach them, we guarded our marriage. You know, when the kids we guarded our date night. And, you know, like when the kids come back from college, you know, and they just come bouncing in, you know, like on Saturday nights, we're like, no, this is our night. You're over here, or you can't just flop on the TV loud in the living room. This is our time. You know, we guard our marriage big time. Okay, let's talk about kids growing. When I'm overcorrecting, it's because I'm under training. So let me just tell you, my training started off in the classroom and probably with my kids. It had about 2 words in it. Stop it. And if that didn't work, I had 4 words. I doubled it. I said, stop it. And that's about the way I handled it. Oh my goodness, I have had to learn so much about training. 2 years ago, our school really got into the training. How do you train your kids to, you know, how do you help them with moodiness? And we started doing school programs. We were going to teach the kids these 7 habits. Well, you guys, so much of that, you know what I did? I went through and I studied this the summer before we launched it 2 years ago. And I went through and put all the scriptures to those 7 habits. There is a scripture for every single one. Sharpen salt, that's Ecclesiastes 3. Putting first things first, Matthew 6. Being proactive, Philippians 4. There's a scripture for everything. And I highly recommend that you read the one that's for the teenagers, because there's a lot of really cool stories that you can use to teach young kids. How do you deal with a child that's moody? It just doesn't have control of their mood. Or, anyway, there's a lot of help I got from that. I'm going to talk some more about training. Every year, I have a student that will come up and lie to me. It never fails. I can have somebody smack somebody. I'll say, don't hit him. I didn't hit him. I'm like, I'm standing right here. I saw you do it. So, does anybody ever have, you know, that line? Okay. So that's one of the things where one year, I'll tell you the printer story. One year, my printer on my desk broke. Called in the tech pulls out an eraser. One of my students had thrown an eraser in my printer. I said, okay, and I said, all right, guys, fess up, who did it? No, nobody did it. I said, well, guess what? Somebody's lying to me. everybody get out a piece of paper. Everybody gets out a piece of paper. I said, okay, we got 3 groups now. We've got one group, maybe you're at the back, that doesn't know who did it. And I said, you guys, I just want you to write me, oh, Mrs. Hayes, here's what I'm excited to do this weekend. I said, now the second group, probably a little bit smaller, this is the group, you know who did it. You guys need to write down. And I said, the third group, it's really small. In fact, there's only one kid in it. It's the one who put this eraser in my printer. And I said, you know what? I forgot to teach you guys what to do when you make a mistake. My bad. I said, so here's the deal. When you make a mistake, you need to come and say, Mrs. Hayes, I really made a bad decision, and I'm sorry, and I won't do it again. So I said, and I knew who did it because a lot of times in teaching, we put the kid who sometimes is the neediest real close to us, and sure enough, I had this really challenging kid like right here. And I said, so who's ever in that last group, whoever did it, I'm giving you the chance. I said, you tell me I'm sorry, and I will forgive you, and it's over. But if you lie to me, it's not over. And I will find out. Sure enough, kids hand the papers in. A bunch of kids say, Mrs. Hayes, this is what I'm doing this weekend. I don't know who did it. Second group, oh, Mrs. Hayes, it was, and every single kid, 7 of them, they say it was him. And then I got that last piece of paper. It was the one who did it. He said, Mrs. Hayes, I'm so sorry. I'm the one who did it. I lied. I won't do it again. You know, we didn't have any more problems with erasers in the printer. And every single year, the first kid that comes up and lies to me, I say, oh, you guys, I forgot to tell you what to do when you lie. So let me tell you this true story that happened in my class. So my kids learn, they have been trained to, come up and own up, fess up, and say you're sorry. And man, we wrap things up. We don't hold stuff over their head. So let's talk a little bit about training. So in my classroom, I noticed that, gosh, my kids didn't know how to ask for things with a please, and they didn't know how to say thank you when they got anything. And so I felt like, gosh, I gotta train them. I gotta help them. And then I felt like I needed training because I felt like I was beginning to constantly think about the kids that were doing something wrong. And there were all these kids that were doing things that were right. And I felt like I needed training. So, anyway, so I started this little discipline thing. This is just thing to do or anything like that. But in my classroom at work, the rest of the school was doing this clip-up chart. You clip up if they do what's right, and they clip down. Well, what happened is you got all these good kids who sometimes you forget to tell them to go clip up. Sometimes it's disruptive. I said, get that. So I got these 2 colors, red and yellow. Big old happy face, top of the chart, all the kids' names. They all start on this yellow thing. If somebody disobeys, I just red. You didn't get out your thing when I said blah, 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 red. Then at 10:30, right before they go to lunch, halfway through the day, we celebrate everyone who's on yellow. And I know this sounds crazy. May I please have a light blue, Mrs. Hayes? And I say, sure. I give them a light blue, and they say, thank you. And then what I noticed was, oh my gosh, there are kids doing the right thing all the time, and I am just becoming too negative. So this started training me. And then some of my kids, I don't know what it is about something so simple as this. And then we would reset. Halfway through the day, it's like, everybody's back on yellow. And then we go off to lunch. And then, then at the end of the day, so it was helping us to celebrate what was going well. But I was getting training. In the morning, I wanted to train my kids to greet me. So I thought, you know what? I can't be at my computer when they wake up, or not when they wake up, when they get up and come into my classroom. So I plop myself right by the door, and they walk in, and they have to say, good morning, Mrs. Hayes. I say, what would you like for breakfast? Oh, I'd like hot lunch, please. Great. Okay, you've got it. Have a great day. So everybody says for the last 180 days, good morning, good morning. Well, what is that? That's Philippians where he says, I'll say it again. looking for. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. Let me repeat myself. So, again, if you're overcorrecting, you're probably under training. Okay, you guys, training and getting advice was much more of a cultural thing in the 1800s and in the 19th century. I mean, think about it. It was, it was the housekeeping. It was Poor Richard's Almanac. It was, I mean, people wanted to learn how to start this new life of opportunity. Okay, I want to make the most of it. And so it was vogue to get help. Well, true story. I work with a woman who happens to be related to George Washington's wife, who was Martha Paul. So Alicia Larkins gave me this book because she knows I love history. She said, thank you for keeping up the legacy of George Washington alive in your 5th grade classroom. What is this? George Washington, when he was a teenager, he was not born into the genteel society. He was a very common man, single mom, and he wanted to become a gentleman. You know what he did? He wrote down 110 precepts that he would live by. So I read through this. It's amazing the way he trained himself and then ended up becoming, one of the greatest leaders there ever was. But he trained himself. Idea of training, I just felt like I needed help in the ways I expect my kids to do certain things. If you teach and train on the front end, there is less, I believe, correcting and frustration on the back end. So let's talk about getting help. 252 basics. What was the main focus of April? What was the main topic of April? We spent a whole month, 252 basics, learning. What was the main topic? Does anybody know? Okay. Humility. The whole month was focused on humility. That's what the memory scripture is about. Guys, I am telling you, this curriculum is the best. I get so inspired every time I teach the kids. I get so convicted. The videos are so funny, but you guys, you've got to take advantage of these resources because it's basically giving you a path of what can you focus on for the month. Hey kids, we're going to get good at humility this month. Let's all get behind this. There are resources, there are devotionals. It's so good. Take advantage of 252 basics. The other thing is get help literature. Okay. My mom, this is what she would do, 6 kids. She would read to us after dinner. Before we left the table, she'd just read a chapter from a novel. One of my most precious memories of my mom is that she read to us. I love that. I cherish that book. I can't believe I just dropped it on the floor. Okay, so let me give you guys an example. All right, so in my classroom, I'll say, all right, kids, come to the carpet. I have got kids who ignore me. So we had to deal with this problem, right? Do you ever have your children not obey right away? Do you ever have your children argue with you when you are trying to get them to obey? Okay, so a lot of times kids think that you're really cutting in on their good time, and there is friction. Okay, Little House in the Big Woods. This is a story. This is a little tiny snippet, guys, of something that helped my children understand obedience. And I put down the scripture, 1 Peter 1:14. As obedient children, do not conform to evil desires you have lived in ignorance. Sometimes kids are ignorant to the importance of obedience. So in this story, they hear a noise. Ma and Laura go out to the barn, and she pats what she thinks is their cow. Laura comes up with the lantern. She sees, oh my gosh, I just slapped a bear. A bear had gotten in the gate. Ma said, Laura, walk back to the house. So Laura turned around and began to walk toward the house. Ma came behind her. When they had gone part way, Ma snatched her up, lantern and all, and ran. Mom ran with her into the house and slammed the door. And Laura said, Mom, is it a bear? Yes, Laura, Ma said. It was a bear. Laura began to cry. She hung on to Ma and sobbed. Oh, will he eat Suki? No, Ma said, hugging her. Suki's safe in the barn. Think, Laura. All those big, heavy logs in the barn walls, and the door is heavy and solid, and maybe he bears out. No bear to get in and eat Suki. Laura felt better, but he could have hurt us, couldn't he? She asked. He didn't hurt us, Ma said. You were a good girl, Laura, to do exactly as I told you, and to do it quickly without asking why. Okay, so next time I call kids up to the carpet, you know, so-and-so's hanging back. The other kids, if you were a pioneer, you'd be eaten by a bear by now. Because they realize, you know, hey, you can't obey like that and do well. So a lot of times, kids need to know, I'm not trying to be mean when I'm trying to get you to obey. It is a matter of life and death sometimes. You know, I'm like, some of my kids, I'm like, guys, one of these days, you're going to be told to not cross that street. You have practiced disobeying so much, you're just going to, bam. No, it doesn't work that way. You know, the other one. So, guys, those are super helpful for pulling something different in to help your children to understand the importance of obeying. I could go on and on with that, but I'll stop. Getting help from literature. When Tyler was like in, I don't know, what grade? Elementary school, we started like a boys book club at the church, and it was reading through the Chronicles of Narnia. Oh, is that a great place to learn about evil and good, you know, and we used that. So I just, I have a lot of things to share, but I guess, guys, I want to stop and say, you know, Mike is an amazing dad. And somewhere along the way, it just hit me that, wow, the kids need, like, if they were being disrespectful to me, I feel like, do your dad talk like that to me? You know, no, your dad does not talk that way to me. And it was kind of like we were the norm. Here's how normal people talk to each other. They're kind to each other. They don't interrupt. They respect each other. Well, Mike just kind of set that bar here, and then, and I'm just telling you, you know, what, the more that you can do to, you know, Dad's the king of this house. You will do yourself such a favor when you really teach your kids to just adore your dad. Mike has done such a great job. Like, just the other day, I was like, you know what? I never felt like your job was a mistress to me. Like, I felt like you've been working now for 37 years. And I said, I never, ever have felt like I took second fiddle to your job. And yet he's been very successful. And I'm like, that means so much to me. And, you know, when the kids started dating, we're like, guys, Tyler, we're like, look at the way your dad, you know the way your dad dated me. You need to learn. When your kids aren't asking you guys questions as they get older, at some point, it needs to not be you guys figuring out. If I feel like I'm doing 20 questions to get to the issue, there needs to be a spirit of them wanting to learn. And this is not going to happen when they're little. This is more, I'm just saying, when you're on the outskirts of 4th and 5th grade, at some point there needs to be them wanting to learn from you. And when we saw that there was not that spirit of the kids wanting, you know, why would you not want to learn from your dad how to pursue that girl? That ought to be, you know, top on your priority. He has done such a great job with the finances, and so you know, again, these are things for like the older kids. But I say all that to say, I don't remember, it was one Father's Day, and we got him a crown, and it was kind of like it was a symbol. It was cute and fun, but it was really like he's the king. He's the king of this house, and I don't know. I just feel like now it is such a joy, you guys. We downsized a couple years ago. With all of our furniture. You know the only thing I wanted to buy recliner. I just wanted recliners everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have been parenting for 27 years and I am exhausted. And every room you went in, I'm like, and, you know, come on, all my friends, you're all tired. So, you know, everybody's putting their feet up around our house. And now I'm like, okay, we're becoming really recliners. We've rested for 2 years now. But, oh my gosh. So anyway, you know, you guys are going to end up with these kids who you love. You have just this life of memories with. But help is there. So please ask, and you'll get it. So thanks for being such great listeners.
So I think my wife did an awesome job. Isn't she a great speaker? She's a great speaker. Wow, she's a wealth of information there. Let's just stop for a minute and pause and take a breath. Oh.
Where it says, at this moment, my main parenting is, because right now, we're kind of shooting in the dark a little bit. Like I talked to Janice and I was like, hey, what's on your mind, you know, last week? But I don't know exactly what's burning on your heart. And I would love in the future for you guys to submit, here's what's really on my mind for my kindergartner to 4th grade. And we will really try to address what's burning on your hearts. And even if we don't get it today, I would love for you to tell us, what are things? I text. I'd rather have text. 317-9160.
And so we just thank you for letting us share today. Hopefully it's been helpful. And if anybody wants to share, talk. Yes.
So we talked about obedience. So we have, and I felt like we did a really good job with the first two, and then we got a third. And it seems like now the pendulum is swung, and we're always retraining and obedience. It's like the family time that never ends, right? Like every week we're going to act out obeying because somehow the third one swung the pendulum kind of just way away from what was norm. How did you experience that? How do you is it crazy to spend that much time in obedience? Is that, we do it every week. It's a thing we do.
So great. Let me repeat the question for this. So as the second or third kid comes along and you get away from the basics of discipline, then all of a sudden the family dynamic changes and you feel like you've got to address it all the time, was the question. And, I think in reality, I guess the best way to answer that was you need to become an expert on your child's personality, their sinful nature, and their love language. But as we say, once you know one, you know one. You've got three. Same thing happened to us. In fact, the last time we went through this, we brought Kathleen to tears for way more than we needed to because we were trying to correct her and train her like we did the other two. And unfortunately, you focus on the older ones, right? And then the younger ones come by and you forget to really go back and do those basics to get to know them, what motivates them, what their nature or temptations are, how to help them individually. You got the first two going, you're like, yeah, that's great. And then all of a sudden the third one's different. So that's how I'd respond.
Oh, okay. When I was little, my parents would be like, Carolyn, not another word. And I'd go, word. And the other one would say, not another peep out of you. Peep. And I was going off to college, and my dad said, your mouth will always get you in trouble. I love you, but your mouth, So I was a talk kid. But I think first thing that comes to mind is modeling. Here's what it looks like. Here's what you're modeling. Dad's going to pretend like he tells me what to do. Here's how it is done. And then you just do not give up on the training for that transition. They didn't want to let go of that toy, but then that toy it's not available for you next time right away because you didn't put it down when I said, and little tricks like the timer, here's how much time you got time, or whatever, going to make this transition in a minute. But I'm going to say, when it comes to kids obeying, sometimes you have a gut. Like, I don't feel good about the way they said that. I don't feel good. There's something in my gut. Listen to your gut. One time, I'm talking about the children, all of a sudden one's under the radar. She went to a party and we went early to pick her up, and she didn't have the same outfit on that she left the house with. She had changed clothes into something that we wouldn't want her to wear. And so like, being sneaky. Guess what? See that door? That's part of our house, that door in your bedroom. You want to be sneaky? You don't have the door anymore. Door off the bedroom. Because we needed to get creative. Do we have to do that for the other two? No. But there was a new thing going on in our house, and so we had to come up with some new ways. Yeah.
But I can't sin. I can't grab them or discipline out of anger. That's where my wife comes in. That's why I'd say, what do you think we should do? Back to the question. Okay? And then come up with a plan. As long as you're unified, you guys are going to win. Your son is not going to win. If you're unified and we agree, you're going to have time out. You're going to be grounded. You're taking all your dessert. You're going to sweep the floor for an hour every day after breakfast. We're the parents. We're going to win. So you either change or get with it. But there are no other options. We're unified. You got no choice. God's on our side. 4-3. So you figure it out. Now we can do it the easy. We can do it the easy way or the hard way. Well, we're going to win this battle. Mm-hmm. And as a dad, that's why you've got to be there. And you're doing a great job. So now, three of you.
You're choosing a really important thing to address. That anything that even remotely feels disrespectful, you just can't let that go. But in marriage, what's wonderful is that whoever got the more godly response kind of sets the bar. Like, okay, so you're not angry, and so. Okay, so I got to get up got to breathe, got to handle it with the calmness that I'm seeing. In this case, my wife's got more calmness about it. But so many times in the classroom, I am like, oh my gosh, this just doesn't work with this respect. You can't have 24 kids and have 2 of you that are always on the pot and not getting the program. So whoever is right sets the bar. And you work up to it. And then again, get on the front end of training. Work on the front end of training and talking about this. Instead of waiting until.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing is, the great thing about this, especially as the dad, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you two agree upon. And that strand of 3 chords, through prayer, through your relations with the brothers, and then make a decision. If, we had to limit it to one sport per season per kid, one activity. Otherwise, you're like going crazy. So the great thing is, that's the beauty of it. Have fun and just say, hey, we're the parents. We get to make the choices. Pray about it. You love your kids. You're going to do the best. You love more than anybody else. But then be confident. Be at peace. Like, okay, this is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go to pizza, and we're going to come home and go to bed early so mom and dad can have a date. Well, that's our family night, and that's it. And we're not going to go soccer on Saturday in the rain. I don't care if the other kids are going to be there. We're just not going to spend our Saturday doing that. We work too hard during the week. We'll have to miss soccer day. That's okay. They won't die. But mom and I are not going to waste our Saturday out in the rain, so you can, or maybe you go and sit in the rain. It's just, that's the beauty of it. You're the experts of your family and your kids. Okay, guys. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you, guys.